I don't want to say I was a belligerent atheist. Like, I was of the mindset I was right and other people were wrong, and I made sure other people know that, and I wasn't very polite about it. At that point, it was, there is no God. We're here for 70, 80, whatever years we live, we die, we're done, we're gone, that's it. And as much as I like telling people that they were wrong for believing something, I didn't want anybody telling me that I shouldn't believe. My way's right, don't tell me your side of it. I went from not believing anything to this kind of mindset of I want to believe, but I couldn't. I was still stuck in my ways where I didn't believe it, but there's part of me that wanted to believe something. Having a beer, and Tiff and I were new to our neighborhood, so we'd only been there for 2-3 months at that point, so we didn't know anybody. And Michelle was out walking her dog, and she's like, "Hey, you guys, are you new here?" I'm like, "Yeah, my wife and I just moved down here from Maryland." And she was just introducing herself, and she started telling me about Redemption Hill, and just if you ever were interested, I can get you more information. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I mean, at that point in my head, I'm like, I'm not going to go, but I appreciate, the offer, I guess. Several months after that, the job I was working at the time, I was in the mountains, George Washington National Forest, and I had to stop to get out, stretch my legs, and I was standing on the side of the mountain. I'm looking out, and I'm just looking at it's fall, so everything's orange and red and yellow. And I was looking out, and something just clicked, in the back of my head. I don't know, how to describe it, but it was more of this is moment of, there is something more. There's something greater here. And so that night, I was on the road for work. I was staying in a hotel, so I called Tiff, my wife, and I was like, "Hey, can we go to church?" I think we started going that next week, and we've been at Redemption Hill since. I believe, but beyond that, I was kind of floundering around on my own, and I think that's kind of what got me in trouble. Because I was just trying to live the same life I was before and sprinkle Jesus in on the side, as an addition. Anyways, I was out with some people from work, and they're all drinking, and I went with the attempt, have a drink or two, but when it went from a drink or two to people were buying shots, and I shouldn't drive. But at the same time, you have that I'm invincible mindset, I guess. I was still just kind of living for myself at that point. And so I left, and it was my decision to leave and drive. And I make it almost completely home, and I lose control, go around the corner, and hit a tree. And so I spent the night in the jail cell, and I was what I thought would be my lowest. It was my lowest moment. I never thought I'd end up somewhere like that. Don't know how I got there, actually. You know what I mean? I know how I got there, but I don't see how I let myself make the decisions to get to that spot.
I mean, I knew John and Tiffany basically just from the community group leading up to that, where he had more or less been, I want to say, standoffish in a way. He was interested and he was coming and he was curious about the community group and about the things we were speaking about, but he also was kind of guarded.
So at first I didn't want to tell my community group about the DUI, because I came from the mindset of they're going to kind of shun me and just say, you can't come back, you're done, you got to go. And so I get there that night, and first thing actually we did after we opened in prayer, just told everybody what happened about the DUI, getting arrested, and just what had happened.
Coming from a place of wow, just processing it. And then Angela asked basically the first question, which got the ball rolling. And I think everybody's response was just out of a place of love and compassion. Obviously he had gone through something and it was hard, and he knew he'd made a mistake, but he had the courage, he was coming forward and confessing that, and everybody just came from a place of love and compassion. And how can we help you? What can we do? Whatever you need, we're here to help you with.
It wasn't a judgment thing from anybody. It was just everybody's like, well, how can we as a group help you? And that was the moment I think I actually felt accepted, because I went from being this ancillary guy just kind of sitting on the edge to this guy of hey, this is me, I just kind of made this mistake, I need help. It was me actually reaching out, and people were like, okay, we'll help you. So things were going well. God was working in my life, and my community group had accepted me. But then I messed up again, and I got caught driving on my suspended license. And I realized at that point, what I was doing on my own wasn't enough. And then I decided to reach out to Dan, see if he could help me.
John was saying, I understand where I want to be, but he didn't understand how to get there. And what he meant was, he knew he wanted to turn things over to Christ and follow God in a great way, but he didn't understand how to give up control and to have that faith and to rely on God in that way. So we basically just met after that email and kind of talked that out and what that was going to look like. And I was very excited for him because not only at this time did he get the DUI and the driving without a license, but he had also lost his job. So, yeah, I mean, things were down in the dumps for him at that point, and looking at the situation. And when we got together, I said, hey, I'm excited for you. Like, you reaching out and, like, wanting to start this journey, it's going to be awesome. And I must have told him that about 30 times in that conversation, how excited for him I was, and he probably looked at me very confused and thought I was crazy. I knew that where John was not where he was going to stay, and that God was going to work in his life in an awesome way. Take him from a spot of the world looks at you this way, but this is who you are in Christ, and it's so awesome.
And I'm not as angry, I'm not as bitter. One of my things I really wanted was just my heart to be softened, and I thought it was going to be hard. And I thought it was going to be near impossible, but I just look at myself now, and for me to come to the point of realizing, I don't have a job. I haven't had a job for several months, but I mean, that's might be okay. That I feel like that's what was needed. That's what the plan kind of was here. It's just like, just stop everything, focus on this, make you better, get close. God's saying, like, just get closer to me. Come to me. That stuff can wait. Not have to be the master of my own destiny, I think, is one of the biggest things where I'm okay not being in control.